Hello everyone, I'm our Benitez, Library Assistant here at the Seguin Public Library, and we are here today with our second session of the Virtual Technology classes in partnership with TLU. Today I've got Dr. Shao and his students talking about Email 101. So we will cover the basics of how to begin an email, what emails are used for, and they'll be answering some questions as well from our community members and others that we get here at the library quite often. So hello, Dr. Shao.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Roderick Shao, TLU. I'm here today with my student, Bryce and Kesson, and they're going to teach us and talk to us about emails, importance of using emails, and how to use it, and also some cautious moments that what we need to look for as we're using emails. So I'll turn it over to my students, Bryce and Kesson. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Shao, and thank you for having us this morning. So yeah, we're talking about email 101 and the basics of email. All right, so what exactly is email? Email is short for electronic mail, as it is a way to send and receive messages via the internet to coworkers, friends, pretty much anyone in the entire world. Like traditional handwritten mail, there is a sender and a recipient. But instead of messages being sent to a physical mailbox, messages are sent to an electronic inbox through an email service provider. An example of those are Gmail, Yahoo, etc. And then email is also delivered instantly. So instead of having to wait days at a time before the recipient gets your message through regular mail, yeah, it's delivered within seconds. So that's pretty convenient. All right, so how does email work? So the first step that you need to take is you're going to need an email account and an email address. And then in order to be able to send a message to a recipient, you'll need to obtain the intended recipient's email address. And you definitely need to make sure that you type it in exactly as it is, because if you won't, then it's going to fail to send and your message is not going to go through. Just as if you were to have the wrong address on physical mail, it's going to get sent back to you. And then once you have the recipient's email address and you have it typed in correctly, you'll create a message that you want to send to that person and you send it. The email then gets sent to an outgoing mail server, which allows the email to go through to the recipient. And then lastly, the message will be received. And then what do you need to make an email, one may ask, is it's pretty simple information, just your name, birthday, gender, and then you'll need to enable your location services. And then once you do make your account, then you can customize everything and add contacts, adjust your settings and preferences and all different sorts of things.
Okay, so here are the steps for making an email. Step one, you'll visit a website that offers an email service such as Yahoo, Gmail, AOL, or the following. And then step two, find the sign up or register button. It's normally in like bold lettering and it's easy to find. Step three, follow the instructions on the page, filling out all the needed details. Normally ask you to create a username, put your name in, your phone number, and things of those nature. Step four, read over and check the box saying that you agree to the system rules. And step five, congratulations, you've created an email. Now on to using an email. Step one, open the email service that you primarily use. Click on the compose button, which is also going to be in a bold lettering. Step three, enter the correct email address that you would like to send to. Step four, add a subject. Step five, enter the message you would like to send. Step six, format the text. You can also attach a file and then you'll just press send. Is creation and usage of email easy? Yes, it is very easy. The very first time that I created an email, I was in the 3rd grade and I was so excited to create it. I thought it was so cool.
You're relatable, same.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Part of creating an email account, you want to go back to the slide that is showing about name, gender, but go further back. Yeah, the name, the name, birthday, gender, and enable location services. So would you clarify for the community members, why do I need to put my birth date? Why do I need to put my gender there? Is this optional or not? And also, why do I need to have to enable location services as I'm creating this email account?
So to start off with birthday, the very first email that I created was on Yahoo. And when they asked for my birthday, they would send me like little birthday messages actually on my birthday. And I thought that was the coolest thing. But yeah, and so then normally that stuff, gender especially, is not necessarily required. It does help. They personalize different things for you, such as like the news that you see and type of emails that you could be getting based on which gender or what your age is. This also has to do with enable location services. The location that you're in will also dictate the kind of things that you see. And so normally those things are just served as a purpose to personalize the experience for you and your email.
Thank you. So just in case I'm a little sensitive on providing my birth date or even, my gender option for that case, or even the name in case I don't want to put my real name, probably want to go with my fake name or my nickname. But the thing here is I do have several email accounts and probably very few of my email accounts have my real name. Other email accounts I have just names that when you read it, you won't even recognize comes from me, or maybe it could be my nickname for that case. So the awareness here really, you don't really have to use your real name to create that email account. If you have any other name that is associated with you or any other member, it can be used as long as it's going to be tied to you in case you really don't want to put your name out there. The same thing with birthdays. I really don't put my real birthday there because it's one of those sensitive things, unless it's a medical issue, but this is just an email thing. But I could put any birth date. The drawback here is if I need to retrieve this account, maybe I forgot my username or password, and then to some extent, as I'm going through the process of being prompted to key in my birth date in order to reset my account, if I don't remember that birth date, then it becomes an issue because I know I can remember my real birth date. But if I did make up one, then it's not easy for me to remember which birthday did I make up for Yahoo account or Gmail account or that kind of thing. So that becomes an issue, but otherwise it's also sensitive. Gender, again, as we know, sometimes, it's a sensitive area too. Sometimes I think there's an option for people not even to really expose their preferences or their gender. So you can just leave it the way it is. And the location, some people will be sensitive with this. They're going to be tracking me for that case. So there is sensitivity to that input that is required when you're creating an email. But what we are drawing here is just be aware of some information that you don't want to share with everybody in the world. You really don't have to. But as long as you can remember what you have put as you're creating an account, it should serve you well if you can remember that. Is anyone else who wants to add anything about that particular process?
I think you covered everything very well.
Okay. Let's see, we have maybe one or two community members right now. If they have any question at this point, we'd like to invite them to ask any question they might have.
I know we have a lot of patrons that will come to the library with concerns about privacy and whether or not they should, share their real information. So what Dr. Shao says, I think is very true.
Can I, maybe I can ask Bryce and Kesson to share with us. What's the difference between Gmail and Yahoo and any other very commonly used email applications? What should I choose in case I don't have one, or maybe I have both, but in terms of features or preferences, what would you say about that?
I think that it's mainly based off of preference. Whatever you choose to use, the emails that you send are going to go to an outgoing mail server and go to the recipient regardless of what provider is used. So I would say that it basically just comes down to preference. Kason, do you have anything to add?
I know through the TLU, like webmail and stuff, they use Outlook, and I believe that's like the given email that everybody gets when you apply to TLU. So yeah, but based on like anything else, whether it's a business or not, it's really just comes down to whatever they choose to use. Some might have different security options than others, and that may play into account. But other than that, I believe that there's not too much difference.
How about space? Should I be concerned about how much I could put out there? Maybe a limitation of space as I'm using either Gmail or Yahoo. Sometimes we like to send those beautiful photos to our family members and share with friends. And so I'm not sure where it goes, but they say they're receiving those. Should I be worried about space?
I don't think that you should necessarily be worried about space. Sometimes whenever sending an email with multiple attachments, depending on how many you're sending, but say you go on a vacation and you have lots and lots of pictures, if you try and send them all in one email, potentially stuff might not go right, but you might have to break it up into a couple individual emails. But as far as space and emails that you can send as many emails as your heart desires. If you have anything to add, Kason, go ahead.
I know that with emails, sometimes, yeah, if you send too big of a picture or a video, the email will condense, and so you'll get a less quality picture or video. So you might have to be careful about that. And like Bryce was saying, you may have to split up the email into multiple different emails, depending on how large of the photo or video that you're going to send. Normally, it'll tell you, hey, this email is pretty large. We may have to condense it, so you'll know before you send it. But yeah.
Thank you. And just maybe one very basic question: do I really have to pay for this email service? Is this free, really?
No. Emails are typically free. I've never seen an email that you would have to pay for, other than like exterior services or things that may come along with it. Maybe that may have to do more with like the ads and services that you get, using Yahoo or something like that. But that doesn't have to do with the email itself. You can send and receive emails for free. The only thing you have to do, which is pretty much a given, is to have an electronic device. So.
I know one newer thing that we've come across here at the library, at least, is now lots of email services are requiring a phone number for verification of a new account. So do y'all know anything about that?
You can go ahead, Kason.
So I think that has to do more with like two-factor authentication, which is like a bigger thing that's coming in today's world, just because there's people out there who can actually steal your email or go even further and steal your information. Normally, if you have that phone number that is put in, they can actually send you a text, and you can, put in your like maybe more detailed information that you can send back, and so that way you can be more in control of your email, so no one can take it from you.
Yeah, and Gmail is the most used email provider, and whenever creating an email for them, I know for sure that email and secondary email and then a phone number is optional, because yeah, as Kason was saying, it is part of that two-factor authentication, which is not always required. It just depends on which provider you're using.
I'm very pleased with that question, also very pleased with both answers from my students. Here's the challenge. I really don't have a cell phone that I could receive that second, you know, notification that, hey, somebody needs to access your account and you want to verify that's really you. So we're going to send you maybe a number or a text in order to verify that. So I'm a little limited with that. What would be my option in case I don't have that cell phone with me?
You might, unless you have, family members maybe who have a cell phone or friends who have a cell phone, you might be able to get away with maybe going up to the library or something along those lines and using one of the computers there. Um, and you might be able to get away with setting up your two-factor authentication that way. Um, Other than that, I can't really think of another way without a cell phone that you might be able to, set up two-factor authentication, but that would probably be your best bet.
I know this is something that we've definitely come across at the library many times where a patron either does not have their phone with them or they don't have one at all that they're able to use in that way. And oftentimes what they'll do is I'll tell them, is there a trusted family member that you know that you'll keep in contact with that can give you that information now? Because you do have to remember that that information stays on file as the secondary phone number. So if they change their phone number or you lose contact with them for whatever reason, that information goes on with them. So it needs to be someone you trust for sure.
That's great. I like that option, which is a really good one and real. The second option also in addition to that is if you happen to have somebody with another email account, that will be an option. Because if you have a second email account or somebody with an email account, they will send that information to that second email account or another person's that you trust email account. Then you can use that information for you to move on and access your email if you're prompted to have that second authentication. So if a cell phone is not an option at all, then somebody else existing email account will be a second option. Do we have any questions or you want to move on? As far as any questions from our community member, probably not at this time. Is it okay if I keep on asking a few more questions
Sure.
also for the benefit of the community members? I'm also concerned about security. So once I have my email up and running and I'm starting receiving those messages and so forth, and I'm just afraid, I'm not sure which one should I open or which one I shouldn't open because I heard there's something called viruses. You could be receiving those viruses from your email.
Mhm.
And I really don't want to damage my computer or probably I'm just afraid of everything. So what tips would you like to share with the community members about becoming aware of those viruses that could be attached to emails that comes from people sometimes you don't know of? It looks like coming from somebody that you really know very well, but actually it's a virus.
Definitely trying to be aware of what the address looks like that's sending you the email. Normally you can find little hints in there, there'll be a little periods or colons or, dots that you don't recognize. They don't look right. They're supposed to be there. So looking for little hints like that, or just the username in general, you may not recognize. So don't click on an email that you don't recognize. Also, when you're scrolling through your email, you can see little like pre I don't know how to explain. You can see part of the email. And so you can read through like part of the email without having to open it. Normally that will give you a little hint. I know I get some emails that'll say like, hey, your Amazon Prime account, you can get a free this or whatever. And I can see it without opening the email, and I'm not going to open that. I know it's spam. Also, there is something called the spam folder. And what that serves as a way to try to get some of that spam away from your main email into a different folder so that you don't even have to mess with it. And that also, tries to keep your computer safer. So yeah, it's just really being aware of, what you're seeing and what you're opening, and just, being careful.
Thank you, Casson. Bryce, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, my biggest thing that I could say is just definitely don't open something if you do not recognize the email that has sent it to you, or just like Kason said, there's just things that usually can tip you off that something's not right. So just go with your gut feeling about it, and definitely don't click on anything that seems sketchy or weird.
Thank you. Would you agree that this would be a good time to also talk a little bit about how to secure those computers? Because if we are worried about viruses through emails, how can I secure my computer? Is there anything that I could run? If I receive an email, I would like to run it through a software security so that it tells me, hey, this email is safe, no viruses, or oops, I think there's something unsafe here, don't open it. So how would you link this concept of using emails, but also making sure your computer has some kind of antivirus software to help you out with the security issues?
So I know that Windows comes with its own way to protect from viruses. It's called Microsoft Windows Defender. Normally in the options, you can go through and actually click scan, and it'll give you a way to scan not only your computer, but different things that you might be looking into doing. And it'll tell you, hey, this is safe, this isn't safe. Chrome also has a way. They're pretty good with their security, Google Chrome. And so if you're going to open something or look at something, when you actually click on it, it'll give you a warning, say, hey, this might not be safe. Are you sure you want to do this? And so those are just a couple of ways that can help protect further.
Thank you, Casson. Bryce?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that he said.
Thank you. And I think both Yahoo and Gmail, they do help prompting people to be aware of it, just to be like a warning. Say, hey, this message or this download has not been scanned yet. Would you like to scan before you open it? So usually prompts users just want to make sure you pay attention to those prompts, because somehow they're going to be helping you out with a security issue. Also, it's a good thing to make sure that if you want to buy any third-party software for securing your computer, why not go ahead and do that? There are free software antivirus applications out there. You really don't have to buy one. If you want to buy, go for it. But there are free software applications, antivirus applications that you can have on your computer, on your tablet, on your smartphone, just to help you out secure your device. So it's a good thing to think about it. We're not going to go too deep into security for this session, but it's something to be mindful. I'm probably going to have a session more focusing on the security of our devices. Do we have any question from our community member? If not, can I ask another question? I tend up having a lot of questions. I love email topic a lot. Yeah, so let's talk to community members about how easy or how complicated is it to attach a document, talking about this attaching something.
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely a very easy thing to do. For example, whenever you have your draft open and you have your message typed up and you're ready to send, but you need to attach whatever that is, whether that's a video or an image or JPEG, you can minimize the window a little bit and just drag the image or video, whatever it is, into the box, and a window will pop up saying drop, and you just drop it in there, and then it'll attach the file to the bottom of the email. So that way, whenever the recipient receives it, they can open the email, read the message, and then click on the attachment at the bottom. I also know, for example, in Gmail, whenever you have your email composed, there's a little paperclip on the bottom, and you can click on that, and it'll guide you to a Finder window that will show you all the attachments and stuff that you have placed on your desktop. And I know most service providers have the same type of thing, not exactly the exact same way, but they will have something that'll guide you through getting that attachment onto your email. So it's definitely not a hard process whatsoever, especially with just the drag and drop method into the text box.
Thank you, Bryce. Kason?
Yeah, so I know when using like the school email that we use for TLU, like Bryce was saying, there's a little like paperclip, and it's really easy. You could just click on that and then browse through your computer's files. You know, like if you have a PDF or a Word document or any of those things, they'll be there, as well as photos and other things. You can just hit that little attach button and just sort through, click on what you want, click open, and then it'll put it right into the email.
Attaching videos sounds very appealing, but again, videos are very big files. And it looks like I have attached it, and when I send it, unfortunately, I hear from my friend that, well, I haven't seen or received anything yet, or maybe it comes back to me. So the idea of attaching videos is okay if those are very, very small size. Then you can share with everybody else. But again, if you're using an email and you have a large file, video becomes a very difficult thing to attach. Those are limitations, but instead of sending the entire video, if it's because of the size, usually if the video is already online, it's easy to send a link to anybody. And when you send a link to everybody, then they can just open the video, enjoy it, and view it in whatever ways or devices they're using. So again, just throwing out options out there. If that video that somebody wants to share with somebody else via email is somewhere online, it's easier to send the link than sending the entire video file. Typically, they're very big.
I know for school, we could either because we used to post actually a video like on YouTube, and then we would put a hyperlink in and send that to everybody. So that way we didn't have to send the email, as a single to every single person. The same way it can work with a Google Doc. You can put it in a Google Doc and then enable editing, and then everybody can go in and see that video.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Do we happen to have any questions from community members? Any curiosity about emails so far? We know those additional resources will be very, very helpful, very handy for them. But also this is a very good venue to hear from community members.
I have one that's very basic.
Yes.
We get a lot of patrons that have no experience whatsoever with email, and they're trying to apply for a job, but they don't know what to give to their employer. Or to, on the website, what they'll need whenever an employer says they need an email address. So sometimes there's a bit of a mix-up between what a username and a password is. Could you explain a little bit more on that?
So whenever writing down your email address, say you are applying for a job and you do need to put down your phone number and that information, your username is like the beginning part of the email. And then you have for example, mine is brapatterson@tlu.edu. So whenever I'm logging into my account, my username is just that BRA Patterson, but the person needs the service provider at the end to be able to actually send you emails, because if you just give them that first portion, they don't know what service provider you have. So it could be at Gmail, it could be at Yahoo, it could be at TLU, literally anything. So they need that whole thing and not just the first portion, which is your username.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Kason, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I guess the password portion would just be that portion that you're gonna type in. It says password on it, and that's you want to keep that a secret, because if you don't, then and you give that away, people can get into your email. It's a lot easier to take someone's email if they have the password. So yeah, while you're putting in your username above and you're logging in, right under that you'll put in your password.
I have my computer at home, and I don't quite remember my password. So what I end up using is I write my password on a post note and put it on my refrigerator so I can remember it when I need to. Is that the way to go, or how could they really remember those passwords that have been asked, so many of them all the time? And the only thing I can do is just create my little post note and put it on my refrigerator, or maybe just next to my computer. Is there any other way I could really remember those passwords? Any suggestions you might have?
I don't think that it is necessarily a bad thing to write things down on sticky notes, because then you actually have a tangible thing with everything written down on it, just in case something happens to your computer or whatnot. But I know that there also is features in like Safari or Google Chrome. If you do have a personal computer or on your phone, whenever you are logging into pretty much anything, it will give you the option to save your information. So save your password and your username or your email and your password. And that is a really easy thing. So that way you don't even have to write it down if you don't want to. And anytime you're ready to log in, you just click login.
Thanks, Bryce. How about you, Cassim?
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines, in Google Chrome, or even my iPad for instance. My iPad has a feature where if I click save password, all it needs to do is it has a screen or face reading, and so it'll look at my face, and then it'll look at the password that I've saved, and then it'll log in. So that way I don't necessarily have to remember my passwords, although I will say it's always a good idea to have your passwords written down, somewhere. I have it written, I have them written in my notes, just because, in case I do forget. I've got so many different, emails and, places to log in, that it's always a good idea to at least have them written down somewhere.
Now, ultimately, what happens if you completely forget your password? You lost the piece of paper, you lost the several different places you wrote it down, it wasn't saved. What can I do then?
This comes more, back to not necessarily the two-factor authentication, but if you have your phone number or, some other email address written, in there, you can click forgot password. And there's ways to create a new password or recover the password that you originally had. If you click forgot password, it'll take you to a place where you can follow the steps that the service provides you, and then it'll generally be really easy to get your password back.
Yeah, it'll prompt you with that forgot password, and then if depending on what you forgot your password to, you can get an email sent to your email that'll send you to a link to reset your password. Or yeah, as he was saying, you have that two-factor authentication. Hopefully you either had another email address or you had a trusted family member or friend that you could you shared with, and you could reset it that way. So it can be done. It's not super difficult.
Very good, thank you.
Maybe you want to go back to my students again. They kind of threw out some words out there, Google Chrome, browser, that kind of thing. But probably we might have some community members that want to make sure they understand what is this browser thing, what is this Google Chrome we just mentioned. Would you clarify that for our community members?
Yeah. So, you can go, Bryce.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say a browser is, for example, Safari, Firefox, Google Chrome, and there's plenty of others, but that is what you use to access the internet. That's the most basic way that I can explain it. Case, do you have a better way that a more in-depth explanation?
I guess that, it's pretty much the same, but if you want to get to your email, you will have to use one of these things to access the internet or get online. That way you can type in Yahoo or Gmail or whichever, email service that you're using.
Good. I think if I want to go a little deeper into defining what browser is, you guys have done a very good job. And a browser is written instructions, which is called software. So when you have a software, then it creates an application. You're using a browser, you apply it to access the internet. Well, what does it do? the program that is used to create a browser is called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. Is a program language, but we don't understand HTML as humans. That's not our language. So what HTML browser does is to interpret and convert that HTML into text that we can read, into images that we see, and things that we can recognize in maybe English language, maybe Spanish language, or whatever language. But the function of a browser is to convert now that program into the language and the images we see. And of course, at the same time, giving us access to the internet, because without browser, it's not possible for us to access or even just browse the internet. So it's just a little in-depth into that behind the scene, but that's when you hear about browser. That's the function of the browser. Do we happen to have any questions from our community members? Now from the Seguin library for that case.
I think that y'all covered that very well. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe let me go back to Bryce and Cassie. Is there anything else that you had prepared that probably wasn't covered that you want to touch on it?
Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything that we wanted to today. But so at the end of the day, creating and using an email is definitely an easy thing to do that anyone can do. And yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Bryce. How about you, Kesson?
Yeah, using an email is a really good way and a really easy way to communicate, whether it's your business or just friends or people, you know, that you haven't talked to in a long time. And setting up an email is something that's really viable and really easy.
Thank you, Kesson, and thank you, Bryce. And thank you so much. I'll say thank you to the Seguin Library, Mara, for hosting us today and giving us an opportunity to engage with our community members, getting to know them a little better, getting to share with them the skills and knowledge about emails, and also welcoming their questions anytime. We hope that we'll continue this partnership with our community members and also continue to lessen the gap, especially for those who wants to know more about how to use these technologies around our lives each and every day.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Shao and students, all TLU that's participating in this program. We look forward to continuing this. Next week we are having another program. I believe it's on navigating job search sites. So definitely for those of you that are watching this video, keep an eye out for registration. That is now on our website, and we have a couple other classes lined up as well, and these videos will be posted in the future for future reference of anybody wanting to learn more about all of these technology topics. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For having us.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.